Alright, so jazz is a musical form, often improvisational in form, developed by African Americans and influenced by both European harmonic structure and African rhythms. We have the likes of Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, as the founders of this particular genre of music. Never mind, we'll still play all the songs to you so you can have an idea of which one is jazz, which one is hip hop, which one is Afrobeat, highlife and all that. Okay, so now we're talking about soul music. So the first soul songs were created when gospel songs were changed into secular songs by rewriting the lyrics. Can you imagine? They changed gospel songs into secular music. So that was how soul music began. So it's joyful, up-tempo gospel songs became up-tempo soul songs, while slower gospel songs became romantic love songs. An example of the up-tempo style in R&B artists is Ray Charles. That song, I've Got a Woman. That song that says, I've got a woman. So there are other songs like that. So we have the soul music led to many later other kinds of genres of music, including funk, including hip hop, contemporary R&B. So funk developed when soul artists like James Brown and Stevie Wonder began extending the rhythmic grooves in their soul music. So we have major artists in this style can be found in the listing below. We have gospel to soul, Sam Cooke, Portrait of a Legend, Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin was known as the Queen of Soul Music, and so on and so forth. So let's go back now to the song itself. It says the song is a story. Every song has a story. Every song has a story. So every great lyric tells a story. It doesn't have to be a complicated story, but it should have a beginning, it should have a middle, and an end. And like any good piece of romantic fiction, it ought to have a climax. So you don't need to be fancy. The poetry will come. The important thing in the initial stages is to establish a point of view, just like any writer does, and you stick to it. So this sounds like easy tips to avoid, or easy traps, to avoid. But you wouldn't believe the number of times that you can start out writing about one thing and end up writing about something entirely different. It happens when you're writing about a particular train of thought, and then before you know it, you're writing about something else. It doesn't make your audience focused. So that is why when you're writing, you have to remember you have a theme. You need to have a theme that you're working with, and never ever move out of that theme. Otherwise, your audience will be lost. Okay. So your story, like any good piece of fiction, must be logical. If you have holes in your plot, it will make the listener uneasy. So they may not know why, but they won't like your song, because you are not saying different things all at once. You're talking about you want to get a new toy, or you want to get a new whatever it is. You want to get something new. Let's say you want to go to the market now with your mom, and then you're not saying I want to go to school, I want to go to ShopRite, I want to go to Aja, I want to go to the cinema, I want to go to... So you are saying going to so many places all at once. So you have to be logical. If you do want to go to all these places, you have to go to them one after the other. You cannot go there all at once, can you? No. So you have to pick one place you're going to go to first. Alright? So that's the way it is. It has to be logical. So here are some questions that work for many songs. What does the title mean? You want to write a song, so what does that title even mean? First of all. So how do you feel about that title? What caused it to happen? Or what inspired it? Okay. So when will it happen? When do you think it will happen? So there is always a story behind every song. Every song has a story, and there must always be a theme to every song. You must have a goal in mind. You know, when you're starting something, you must ensure that you finish it. So that finishing is where it's called your goal. What do you want to achieve? What do you have in mind? What message are you hoping to pass across to your listeners, to your audience? You can only communicate when you have communicated your thoughts to your audience. So if you have not communicated your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings to your audience, then you have not said anything. You have not said anything. These days there are some really good songs out there, really, but there are some songs that they don't make sense. They're just making so much noise. The only thing you enjoy about it is what? The beat. So if I ask you, what have you learned from this particular song you've heard now? You don't have a tangible answer to give. All you know is that yes, you like the dance, you like the beat, you know. So you need to be able to communicate to your audience before you can communicate your thoughts. So sometimes we can have message distortion. Your messages can be disrupted. You know, just like your phone. Sometimes you're calling somebody, or somebody's calling you, and then you're not hearing what that person is saying very well. That's a distortion. Probably might be as a result of network or something going wrong with the phone, you know. So it happens like that. So if you lose communication with the source of your signal, example GSTV or your radio, your TV, if you lose communication with the source of the signal, then the message that the person on the TV is trying to pass across to you will never be sent in the first place. So so how does this relate to what we're talking about? Let's take for instance, you want to present a song, or you want to present a drama that talks about the Americans, you know, the Americans, and then all you're doing is putting on a native attire, and then you're speaking in Yoruba, you're speaking a particular language, you know. People will be like, what's going on? You're talking about America, and then you're not dressed traditionally, you know. So there's no correlation, there's no relationship, you know, in that message. So that's how that message gets lost. So you have to dress and act the part. If you're talking about America, then you have to start speaking like an American. You have to start dressing up like an American too, so that your message can be passed across properly. Alright. If you are not well prepared to deliver a message, then you would have lost the audience even before you even start. Do you understand? If you are not well prepared, that's why this song we want to write, I want us to prepare very well. I want us to rehearse even on our own. You know, we're not going to be meeting physically most of the time. So I want you to rehearse on your own, you know, before the end of the week. At least we'll have an idea of what song we're going to be doing. So you need to prepare ahead of time for your songs. So if you're not well prepared to deliver the message, then you would have lost your listener even before you start singing. So you can be going off key. You know, you cannot get, sometimes you miss your lyrics and your diction is not right, the delivery is wrong, you know, unnecessary gesticulations, you know, and all sorts of things. So for the gospel singers to sing cuts you away from the flow. When you told lies to daddy yesterday, and then today you are in church and you now want to sing to God. That is where your message is being distorted. Or you take what does not belong to you, and then you want to go and sing about being obedient to God. you know, so there is a distortion there. So you have to sing what you believe, sing what you believe in. So you have to also be able to be in tune with what you want to pass across to your audience. So if you don't pass on the message with clarity, then that means the message is lost. So when the audience cannot hear you audibly enough, then your message is also lost. When they cannot hear you, maybe the mic is off, the mic is bad, or even you yourself, you are not projecting very well, you know, that's a noise, and that's also a message distortion. So also the language barrier. In a case where you are not speaking the right language, even though you have a very good and important message to pass across. So how do I now understand what you are saying? You have something important to pass across to me, but I don't understand it. So you have to know the type of language to use per time. Know the right language to use at the right time. Alright? So lack of confidence. If you're not confident of what you want to do, then you've already lost your audience. So you have to be confident, you have to be bold. And all this comes about when you have done your rehearsals, when you have done all your training, you've done your reading, you've done everything you need to do, and then you have the boldness to now present your music. So also, there is always a channel where how your message is conveyed. You always have a way of conveying your messages, either through drama, through your singing, through writing. Okay? So all those things are very important. So the last one now, which is very important, is the singer of the song. So the singer expresses the song and gives interpretation to the song. He adds the dynamics that aid in passing across the message of the song to the listeners. So the singer is the one who makes the song or he spoils it. So a lot